Started early. You were right on. You're right on time. You're right on time. On the right end over here is our executive director Tim Gropp. In the audience this evening, we have beautiful Bonnie Ramian. Sorry, Tim.
He was all excited.
And tonight will be Tim Ramian, our executive assistant's last meeting. We appreciate your service and everything you've done. Appreciate your positive energy you bring. And in front of Tim is our new executive assistant, and that's Eder Lopez. Eder, we're looking forward to working with you and appreciate it. So moving forward, were there any public comments?
There were none this evening.
All right, hearing none. Bonnie, would you like to address Tim at the podium?
No.
Okay. Hearing none, we'll proceed past the public comment. Consent of the regular session meeting minutes. They were previously distributed. Were there any corrections, edits, changes of any sort?
No, look good.
All right, hearing none, we'll approve that with consent. Moving on to item number 5, the approval of claims. Mr. Gropp, could you go through those with us, please?
Yeah, in general, they're pretty standard. We do have a couple out there in the, I'll call it the scurry of May, just trying to get everything done and move forward. We obviously had a couple new events with Cinco de Mayo and Rockin' on Main. The SRC, I should acknowledge that we participated the best we can, helping share some of those expenses, including getting the portable stage up and running, adding new flooring to that, printing some of the banners you see and fixing some of the hardware. We try our best to split some of those costs with the town, but also pick up a little bit and make sure everything runs smoothly. So a couple of those expenses are on here, and then quite a few of just our ongoing current TIF projects are starting to bill periodically. So those are showing up here, including the Wolpert with the fire station evaluation. There's a Speedway sidewalks project that actually is getting reimbursed back because that's actually being done through the Transportation Committee. However, I'm kind of managing that, so we're just passing through and reimbursing. And then also, I think I saw on here, 10th and Costle project also is billing. So that's what some of those Amazon and whatnot bills are, just related to May expenses. And then it's still a few around the building here where we should see less and less SMC expenses as we're getting more and more comfortable in this space. But there's still a few of those that are popping up. And we're still coordinating who's paying what at this time, but that should level out here real soon.
Any questions with regards to the claims as submitted? I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
Mr. President, I make a motion we approve the claims as submitted.
I'll second.
And with a motion and a second, we'll vote. All in favor of approving the claims, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion passes, or the approval is 5-0. And moving on to the next item on the agenda, the director's report.
I don't usually wear a tie. This is freaking
like
me out a little bit. Just touching base on May again. It was a successful May, odd May to say the least, though. It felt like, there was just all these unknowns, including what the crowds would be like, who's going to show up, who's going to do what. Everything ended up being, I thought, went really well for what we did have. I mentioned the Cinco de Mayo event was very successful. Rockin' on Main, big thank you to Brody, who spent a lot of volunteer time helping set up the stage and take care of items that needed to be done. We tried to participate as much as we can. I stayed down there most of the day, unintentionally. Just kind of got down there and could never quite leave. Things come up, right? But in general, I appreciate the SRC's support, and hopefully we improve those and do them again next year. Probably a little modified as hopefully things get a little more normal on Carb Day and race weekend as well. So outside of that, we were able to allow the parks to park some of our lots and raise some significant money for the parks. If you're not aware, they have a $250,000 matching grant that they're trying to come up with the $250,000 for. So this was a big help to them, and if you're interested in that, please let me know, and I'll be sure to contact you with Tammy, because that's a benefit to the parks we definitely want to see them get. We had a couple vendors. Everything seemed to go smooth on those as well. Screwball Whiskey on the corner there of the roundabout. They're interested in coming back next year already and have already reached out to us, so we're going to work on that. And outside of that, we were able to move some trailers to the trails as well. They made a little money, so we were able to kind of diversify some funds and get a little bit of money for everybody. And big shout out to the Speedway Arts Council, who had the pop-up shop on Main. It was highly successful, very busy, nothing but positive feedback that I heard on that as well. So just a lot of cool things that came together and made it a unique May, and I think successful for the town. So thank you to everybody on that. Just a note, since this is Tim's last official SRC meeting, that means he'll also be stepping down as the special hearing examiner for Speed Zone 1. Jennifer Miller, our very own Jennifer Miller, has agreed to take on that position and has been certified by Indianapolis to take on that position effective July 1st. So that change, we thank you for volunteering to do that. So project-wise, 1300 block, we are making progress. The developer is very anxious to break ground. We have signed the EDA. We're working on the final ancillary documents. We're waiting to see the final construction plans on the plaza portion and working out some logistics just on cost increase that have come, trying to make it fall within the budget again. None of that should be towards any kind of delay. It is our intent to close on the property here in the next couple weeks, this week or next week, depending on how we pull everything together. And then there's some environmental work that needs to be done that first week of July, and hopefully we can release them to start here in early July. It'll be great to see some construction there. OMR's building, they have run into some issues with some old concrete from former foundations, but they're working through that, and hopefully we'll see that building moving towards progress here real soon as well. And then Allison Transmission continues to have a bunch of their projects. It's actually a lengthy list. They're doing a lot over there, and really grateful for them to be investing. But they're getting really close on finishing up their innovation center. So a lot of those last details on signage and landscaping, and part of what our 10th and Castle project is involved with as well. They're anxious to start getting some of that going, cleaning up that 10th Street corridor. So look for some changes along there coming up as well. Just a note, we actually did notify our overlapping taxing units per state requirement that we will be having our annual meeting that's required to go over the finances of the SRC and what current projects and future projects. That will be at our July normal meeting. We'll host that right here. We'll see who comes. But nonetheless, it'll be on public record and recorded, so it's a good meeting to have. We have done all our other annual requirements that are for the state that are required each year, and have put all those into the system. We are anticipating our June draw from Indianapolis for our taxes, our Form 22s, if you will. As soon as we get those will be in by the end of June here at the latest. We'll analyze it onto what our projected revenues are and give you guys a report next month as to how we came in the first half of 2021. And also that's when we reconcile those couple TIF districts that might, I believe this is the first time we'll have a payment on the Wilshaw. So there will be a reconcile there, and that just a reminder that any shortfall that may happen there will be on the developer to pay that difference. And then we do that same thing out at Speedway Marketplace as well. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Upcoming events, we had a bike night last week. It was very successful from what I hear. I wasn't able to make it. But this week, we have the Run 317 event this Thursday. It'll be hosted by the Lions Club. Any additional details on that, Rhonda?
They reached their 100 volunteers that they needed, so that's
Fantastic.
great for everyone that signed up to be a volunteer. Looking forward to seeing you there Thursday night. If nothing else, come out and watch the event. There should be a good turnout.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, there's some drink specials up and down Main Street, and it should be good people watching, if nothing else. So I will be down there. My wife is running in it, and I missed that volunteer window, so I might be drinking.
You get 2 free beers if you
Sangria.
volunteer, so.
What about the run registration? Did you miss that?
I don't know.
You kind of skipped over. You kind of skipped over that one. Tim.
Definitely missed that run
Hey, still
registration.
sign up if you haven't signed up to run the day of.
Oh, thank you
Yeah.
for that. So there's still time. And last but not least, we have a statement prepared here for the Wilshaw, so I will read that right now. In February 2021, the Speedway Redevelopment Commission entered into a new phase with Loftus Robinson as it relates to the Wilshaw development. Our intention was to explore all the options available to us since the hotel was not completed by the date set forth in the Economic Development Agreement between the Speedway Redevelopment Commission, Town of Speedway, and Loftus Robinson and their partners. Once we entered this phase, the lines of communication with Loftus Robinson did improve. To date, we are continuing to negotiate an amendment to the Economic Development Agreement. It is our understanding that Loftus Robinson is the process of finalizing new financing for the development. We have requested the developer provide us with a new timeline based on the closing date for the new financing. Loftus Robinson was asked to personally attend tonight's meeting with the stated request that they share an update with the SRC and ultimately the citizens of Speedway. After multiple requests, Loftus Robinson has opted not to attend this meeting. We are deeply disappointed in this decision. One of our long-standing issues throughout our engagement with them involves a lack of transparency and communication. Frankly, our town deserves better than this. Legal action has always been an option for us. However, we do recognize that litigation is costly to the town, simply doesn't move the project forward in a timely manner. We feel there is a path forward currently, yet we have not ruled out resolving this issue in court if necessary. Our goal at this site is to have a successfully built and operational hotel on Main Street, providing much-needed hotel space, boosting tourism opportunities in our town. The citizens of Speedway, along with town leadership, have been extremely patient throughout this entire process, which we greatly appreciate. We look forward to resolving this in the coming weeks and renewed activity at the site. As soon as we have additional information, including a timeline for what that process is, we will pass that along to the public. Be happy to answer any questions.
Did Loftus provide a statement?
They did not. When they told us they would not be at the meeting, despite asking for them to do so over the month, we asked them to provide a statement. We did not receive a statement this evening either. So we have made progress on the Economic Development Agreement amendment, and we have received some confirmation on the financing is continuing to move forward, but we do not have a timeline in place yet. We're hoping that that's sooner than later.
Yes. Anyone have any additional questions? Appreciate the update, Tim, and thanks for all the work behind the scenes on keeping the movement in a forward direction there with the Wilshaw project.
Brian.
Yeah, I get it. Next item on the agenda is new business in reference to some bids that we received for asphalt parking lots. Do you want to discuss
Yeah.
those?
So we have Scott Senefeld from Veritas Group, who has helped us through the bid process. As you mentioned, we have done the engineering for 3 parcels. One of those is 1426 Main Street, which is an existing lot that we intend to improve and make safer for the public. One of them is for a brand-new parking lot on the current gravel lots. We're calling the 16th Street parking lot. This would be adjacent to the Speedway gas station. This would be a part of our land swap deal with IMS that would cover the needs required in the economic development agreement for the Wilshaw project, so we can honor our commitments. And then there's also another one for 4940 Crawfordsville Road, which we call the Zellman lot, and we'll discuss that one in a little bit. So with that, we did follow the bid procedures, and Scott will kind of go through what we received back.
Good evening. Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to be with you. My name is Scott Sennefeld. I'm with the Veritas Group. And I have extra copies of this summary if that needs to be distributed. Tim, does everybody have it?
You guys have it?
I think we all have it.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
we all have it.
So I'll just kind of recap for you again. We were retained, if you will, by the town to administer the bid process on these three projects. We did put those out to bid, being obviously the Main Street, 16th Street, and Crawfordsville Road parking lots. Those bids were received on May 26th from two bidders. That was Globe Asphalt and Millennium Contractors. At that time, I also have the actual bids. I want to turn back over to you, the town, for your records, as well as the affidavits for publication, so I'll do that. But the two bids received, I'll just read those quickly. From Globe Asphalt, we had the bid for 1426 Main Street, their base bid, because we did bids for base bid and alternates, and the alternates included bonding. So their base bid was $162,103.99 for Main Street. The alternate for that project was $1,215.01. Base bid for 16th Street parking lot was $336,622.91, with an alternate for that project at $2,525. And the base bid for 4940 Crawfordsville Road was $180,521.73, with an alternate for that project of $1,354. We again broke those out into individual projects, as well as gave the opportunity for a combination bid. Their combination bid of all three for those projects was $679,248.63, with an alternate for all three of $5,095. The next bidder was Millennium Contractors. Again, on the Main Street project, was an even $250,000, with an alternate of $6,000. The next project at 16th Street parking lot was $475,600, with an alternate of $10,000. The 4940 Crawfordsville Road base bid was $275,400, with an alternate on that project of $7,500. And then their combination bid for all three was $1 million even, with an alternate for bonds of $15,000. Excuse me. So after that, we immediately took those bids under advisement. And obviously, we start that process of bid review, which the very first step is obviously making sure that the documents required as part of the bid were submitted, of which they were from both bidders. We did receive Globe Asphalt included a Form 96 contractor's bid form for public works projects, which wasn't actually distributed as part of the bid docs, but was appreciated, gives greater information to the company and the work that they currently have. So from that, we had submitted, as the apparent low bidder was Globe Asphalt, we submitted them a bid review questionnaire. I think you have a copy of that as well in your documents, which basically just asks them to review the bid documents and make sure that they have included all the scope of work and materials for each project. They did submit in return of that a fairly short form document, which wasn't even on their letterhead. I've actually asked that they submit that on letterhead, and I believe I received that via email today, so I will submit that to you in follow-up. But in short, then we went on to a interview, if you will, with Globe, just to review that bid and their responses. The primary response being that they had submitted that in response to all three projects. So in essence, agreed with the questionnaire and confirmed the form of the scope that was included. They had also identified 3 items that were excluded from their bid. We obviously delved into that pretty deeply to determine the reason therefore, and I can go through some of that, but after that conversation, that was determined acceptable in our review. Those items that had been excluded were the parking lot lighting for the 4940 Crawfordsville Road at a value of $26,500. The concrete planters from 1426 Main Street project at a value of $7,374. Excuse me, and then the allowance for, in essence, the card reader gate access from the 16th Street project of $30,000. So we took all that into advisement again and reviewed and worked through with why they had excluded those. And predominantly, it's because you have an asphalt contractor who doesn't typically bid as a general contractor. So a few of those items he just certainly overlooked. So we understood that. They were fairly transparent, which we appreciate. It certainly makes our job easier to determine the values going forward. So with that, we would then add that to their low bid. That still makes them the low bidder in this instance between the 2 bids received. Any questions or anything on those items that were excluded?
What's the allowance?
So as part of that particular project, there's an access point or a card reader access gated entry that's called out, but it's not fully specified.
Yeah,
So that's what the allowance covers?
Yeah.
we're still working on that. We haven't had good response on the one we were picking, and it's the logistics of managing a lot where 50 spots are dedicated to a specific user. It's technically a public lot, but we're going to manage that a different way. So we feel the best way to do that's probably through a key access portal that allows people in and out, and certain people have the code and don't. So
Okay. so
we're trying to
it's like
vet that out. That's something new to us, and we're just trying to figure it out. And we haven't had much luck getting our quotes and what works best back. So
Okay. I did the terminology, so allowance is like allowing people into the lot, not
they've
an
built in.
allowance.
Well, I think they've
No,
built
actually,
in.
Yeah,
the
good
term
guess.
allowance would be that you control that money, you as the board.
Oh, okay.
Control that $30,000 so
We can do
going
it for 20.
forward,
I got
if we refine the requirement of what that card access system is, and it costs $20,000,
Sure.
you get that 10 back.
Okay.
We didn't provide a specific unit in the specs for
Yeah.
them to bid.
No, I get
Or
it.
if we decide that, hey, we're going to put 2 poles up and we'll put a chain up when we don't want people in there. And besides that, we're just going to try to sign it and hope that everything works out well, kind of like we do now. Then we could do that route and save that money and put it towards that. But
Sure.
I think that prominent location, we're going to want to control that traffic a little better.
So is the 650 on this sheet a firm price?
The 650 on which sheet?
This.
Yeah, so their bid would be a firm price in essence. If you were to go, so just to finish that thought, obviously, we're recommending the low bidder be the apparent and approved low bidder if you go forward with contracting any or all of these projects. That is what we would expect to be a firm price. So we would add the additional items in. We wouldn't anticipate any change orders other than for maybe unforeseen conditions or things like that. And then from that, we've gone ahead and put together basically a project budget that I can delve into if we want to as well, that would pick up some recommendation for some additional contingency, if you will, or allowances.
That's what I was going to ask. So this is a budget. This isn't the bid.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So I was
we
going
had
to
some
say, I didn't want to, I was wondering why we were going to pay 8% contingency on a firm price.
Sure.
You know, I got you.
You bet.
Okay.
So with that, and that's a good segue just into that document, let me get that in front of me here. We've, in talking with Mr. Gropp, understand that you may elect to award 2 of those projects, so we developed this budget based on that. So, do you all have a copy of that as well? Yeah, it looks like you do.
I don't. Do you got a copy of the bids?
We didn't put the actual bids in
Okay,
there.
that's where I was getting confused with the 600 and some thousand, and I seen this, okay.
I think we passed it along, but we didn't want to print all that paper.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, and I have copies if anybody needs any. But at any rate, we, much like Dave Rainey in our office has done with some of your other projects, but we'll maintain a budget going forward if we're, again, selected to do your owner's rep for these projects. But as a part of that, we've put the 2 projects into the budget, which we believe that, or understand that you may consider awarding. That excludes the Crawfordsville Road. And then as a part of that, in our normal soft cost, we've also included on your end, the town's end, what would be some value for builder's risk insurance. This is a little different project than a building, so this number's potentially a little heavy. We've also got legal fees, which would be, as a part of the town, just administering contracts and what have you. Then the construction cost, that sort of second gray bar, is the 2 projects, both base and alternates, as well as the bid clarifications, which are attributable to these 2 projects, being the $30,000 allowance for 16th Street and then the concrete planters for Main Street, which gives an all-in hard construction cost, the yellow bar, if you will, of $539,841.90. So continuing on down, then we do typically recommend you consider a construction contingency. Again, if that's for unforeseen conditions or potentially there's a design change that you make as a part of the project during construction, we would suggest maintaining a contingency. Then from there, obviously, we have liability insurance for the project, which is typically around 0.5% for a total construction. Then the next item is the utility fees. So there is power for site lighting on one of the projects. So we're recommending you consider in the budget fees that may be attributable to powering up those lots.
And on top of that, we hadn't fully vetted out if we, cameras or anything like that might need to go in there. So there'll be some conduit work and possibly some future additions, because if we're putting the light poles up, we kind of want to have some security cameras and whatnot. So we're working with Sandy to figure out the best way to incorporate that into the town's system. So that's what some of that contingency would be used for. We give ourselves some flexibility to do it right.
Yep. So that provides you, in essence, a construction total of $605,728. And then from there, the new lot, if you will, the new asphalt paving project, meaning the 16th Street project, there is no material testing currently specified in the specifications there. So we would recommend like a base compaction testing, the asphalt core test, et cetera. So we've also put in an allowance of $7,500 in there, which I think is a little bit heavy, but that would be for necessary testing, which we would recommend. Thus, the total budget presented is $650,508. And as we've just said, we didn't start this process with an established budget from the town. So basically, we just washed it out. So the budget meets the cost anticipated.
Other than when we talked about projects for the year and we did our planning session, this was in there, and this is within that range of what we were looking at, so.
Yeah, Veritas didn't have, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Correct, sorry. We're just winging it here. But on top of that, so this was a planned expense, and, also a reminder, this is our second time going out for bid. We had Millennium, bid the first time was significantly higher than that estimated budget in our planning session. So this definitely falls within where we are anticipating. And you mentioned our recommendation. We definitely want to do 1426. That project needs to move forward, and we need to do the 16th Street lot. We're still pushing forward with the land swap with IMS. While I would like to do the Crawfordsville Road project, the future long-term vision and plan for that property is still being worked out and discussed, of what the actual long-term use specifically by the SRC is going to be. So, base bid-wise, it's about $180,000. I'd hate to invest that and shift directions a year down the road. So I think it'd be wise on this spot. We're engineered. We can always rebid it. We could package it with another project. But I'd hate to put that money out there for something to shift. So at this time, we're recommending that we hold off on doing the Crawfordsville Road project at this time and revisit it down the road. So we're only recommending moving forward with 1426 in the 16th Street lot.
Are you familiar with Globe Asphalt and any past projects and as far as the quality of their work?
Yes, we are, and quite frankly, just to back up, so as a part of kind of doing the PR work, so to speak, and getting the word out about your projects, we had contacted, I think, 18 bidders, had plans distributed to multiple bidders. So, we have 2 bids, which we're pleased with and certainly familiar with Globe. Obviously, they're been around for quite a while, so their work sort of speaks for itself. So that's a good thing. Yes.
They do a lot of work around town. So. In fact, I think they did 1426 the first time, so under Wendell. So.
What are those 2 small alternate charges?
The alternates were for payment and performance bonds.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the allowance, is that for the cart access, is that being held through them in the contract?
So we would, if you elect to go forward with Globe, we would write that into their contract as an allowance. So that means you still maintain control of that. So as we refine that system to determine, okay, it's going to be this manufacturer and these many whatever pieces and parts, then they'll provide a quote directly to that. We'll see the value of that. And then whatever net difference either comes back to you directly out of their contract. So we'd write a change order to reduce that.
Okay, so they know it's a specific allowance,
They do.
not a general allowance within
They
the
do,
contract?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Same thing, one other point, the contingency, if you will, that we've recommended in the budget, that does not go into their contract. That's just a part of owner's budget.
And part of your budget had the owner's rep contract that you presented.
It did, yes.
So if so choose, we would want to accept that. It's not on the agenda, but that would be part of the overall budget. We'd want to accept that contract as well, which I would recommend, since I don't.
The owners?
Yeah, the part of the budget is there's a Veritas contract in your packet, which is part of the budget that he just went over, but it's a separate contract, which would be Scott and David and the crew that manages most of our projects, essentially acts as our owner's rep and our engineering firm. You do not want me handling that. I am not a PE, so.
So we'll have a contract with Globe, but also a contract with Veritas. to
Yes,
manage.
but it all falls
Not-
into that $650,000 that was presented. So that would be a separate motion to accept the Veritas contract.
That's the owner's rep.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Thank you.
They're not hiring Globe work.
No, that's correct.
Yep.
They would be overseeing the operations.
Yes, they're making sure Globe's doing what as in the contract. There you go.
Any other questions that I can address? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott.
The only thing I'll add is when we bid this out, the first time we had a specific timeline, and we got one bid back. So one of the feedback was, we got to fit in the schedule. I mean, the fact that he talked to 18 firms and we got 2 back tells you how busy everybody is. So we left a lot of flexibility. So we don't know exactly when these projects would take off, but essentially our timeline was before the plants close this fall. So sometime between July and
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving-ish.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the contracts that they have to give us so much notification before they get started? Or once this contract's signed, I mean, I guess at what point do we have some, or are they coming in on a Wednesday and saying, hey, we're starting on Monday?
No, if I may, Tim, so as a part of that process, if you elect to award them the contract, we would get those documents together and get it out to them. And then our very first thing would be to have a kind of a pre-construction meeting where we'd review all of that, not only timing, but just logistics and access and MOT and what have you. So we'd know that well up front, as a part of that process.
Great.
And then we can help to notify specifically really on Main Street, but there's adjoining property owners right there that we'd want to notify and coordinate with.
Yeah, and on top, we still have to close with IMS, and there's 2 pipelines that run through there that we need agreements with, and one of those is expiring, so we're trying to get that all firmed up as well. So there's still a few logistics that we need to do on our end too, but if they say we can proceed, we're going to figure out a way to get them to proceed and get it done, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Any additional questions? We'll move forward with, I'd like to entertain a motion for the approval of the bid for 1426 Main Street.
If I may, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the bid for 1426 Main Street parking lot and the 16th Street parking lot, and reject the bid for the 4940 Crawfordsville Road parking lot.
To be clear, you want to accept the bid for the lowest, most responsive bidder, which is Globe. What's Globe's official name? It's Globe.
Globe Asphalt.
Globe Asphalt Paving.
Thank you, yes.
I'll second it if I don't have to say all that. I'll second the motion.
We'll get it right in the
Thank you,
minutes.
Jennifer. Thank you, Barry. All in favor of approving the motion as explained?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. The motion passes 5-0, and we'll be moving forward with the lowest, most responsive bidder for the 2 parking lots located at 1426 Main Street and the parking lot, the additional parking lot at 16th and 16th Street.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
May we also consider the Veritas contract?
Absolutely. I would entertain a motion to approve Veritas for their owner's rep, project management and owner's representative services for the 1426 Main Street parking lot and 4735 West 16th Street parking lot.
I'd make a motion to approve Veritas as the project manager and owner's representative services for 1426 Main Street and 4735 West 16th Street parking lots.
Second.
Hearing a motion and a second, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Motion passes 5-0. We'll be proceeding with Veritas for their ownership services. Scott, thanks for being here tonight. Appreciate you guys walking us through the bid process.
We'll be in touch.
That concludes our new business. Moving on to item number 8, event and lot use requests. This is happening early.
It is. We have a request from Marcia Huff, owner of Barbecue and Bourbon, for the use of 1426 Main Street for bike nights, the remainder of the bike nights. So if you recall, we approved it for the first one to see how things went. Seemed to go pretty well. We made some adjustments for the second one. This request did not get before you before that, so I did an administrative approval. I hope that's okay. And that one seemed to go very well, so it seems to be a lot of momentum. So they have asked for the remainder nights as listed. Yeah, I have 6:16 on there, but 7:21, 8:18, 9:15, and 10:20. The only caveat I have said back to them is we just approved a paving contract, so there might be one of these dates that is in conflict with construction, and if that is the case, we will simply figure out accommodations elsewhere.
Very good. And I assume that those dates are clear on the calendar schedule for anything happening at IMS or any of those?
Yeah, Wednesday nights
Scenarios.
usually are not
Yeah.
heavy event nights for us, so.
Very good. I'll entertain a motion to approve the use of the 1426 Main Street lot for bike nights moving forward.
My turn. Oh. Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the request to use 1426 Main Street for the dates submitted for bike night.
I'll second.
All right, with a motion and a second, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. The motion passes 5-0. Do we want to discuss future lots for next year for Main Street, for the Screwball Whiskey?
I will
Address that in the
draft.
future.
Yeah, I will draft up something. They have requested future use based on this year, so I will go back with them and see if we can't draft up a proposal and get that to you guys next month.
Perfect.
So that'll be the most advanced notice we've ever had.
Exactly right. Exactly right. That's perfect. That's perfect. It works for everybody, you know? That's ideal. So,
Yeah.
any old business that anyone like to discuss?
I don't think so.
All good. Moving forward with item number 10, you want to take that, Tim?
No, I don't, but I will. Mr. Ramian, could you please come to the podium, sir? So this is a day that's been a long time coming. I got to be careful here. I still got to work with him a few weeks here. But Tim has been with the Redevelopment Commission 6.5+ years now.
Yes.
He was here on day one and has been with me the entire journey with Speedway Redevelopment Commission. We get along, very well, if you can tell. So I can't, it's hard to put into words this time coming. I'm really excited for him to do his second retirement. This is his second retirement. It might even be your third, I don't know. I tend to retire a lot, it's weird. But has been an invaluable asset to this town, not just at the SRC. He's been on the library board. He's been the special hearing examiner. He's on your
Parks and Recreation.
Parks and Recreation Board.
Transportation Board.
Anything? You got a resume for us? This is good. So and I was actually going with Lions Club, so so has just been involved in so many ways and had his fingerprints on so much of this community. I can't express, we could tell stories all night about how freaked out I was those first few months coming in here, and Wendell walking into my office saying, you owe money for this, and you got to do this, and Tim kind of calming me down and giving me the history. So we've grown your position over the last 4.5 years I've been here, probably a little too much. You haven't yelled at me yet, but he's just done everything that's been asked of him. He has helped out in so many ways. He's taken on more responsibility, only slightly complains from time to time, and just has been a friend more than anything else. We laugh way more than we have those stressful moments, and that makes the job worthwhile coming to every day. We look forward to, I look forward to every day. I don't know about you, but
Not so much anymore, but
he's definitely on the way out. So we're looking forward to Eder, and glad that you have some time to show him, but we just can't thank you enough for all you've done for the Redevelopment Commission, for the town, and I know that you have some plans here to travel and just enjoy your time with Bonnie, and As in honor of that, we have decided to put a dog park right across from your house so that every morning you can wake up to barks. So that is not true that you know of. But we truly do wish you nothing but enjoyment and a long, wonderful retirement. And for those of you that don't know, we are both region rats and
Right, yeah.
grew up. What are the chances that two Tims from LaPorte County would end up at the Speedway Redevelopment Commission? So, it's pretty amazing. But with that, we do have something for you, but if you have a few words,
Oh,
put you on the spot.
I wanted to say, see how I could turn a 45-minute meeting into an hour-and-a-half meeting, but I won't do that to you. So I started in December of 2014, and I thought this would be maybe a 2 or 3 year job, and it didn't turn out that way. And in fact, I told Tim that I was going to be retiring about 18 months ago, and then he said he didn't get down on his knees, but he said, "Will you please stay until we move into the new building?" I said, "Sure, I can do that." And then COVID hit, and then what was October of last year became December, then it became January, and then March we finally moved in here. So, but it was, I wanted to thank my wife for being so understanding about evening meetings and meetings that ran longer than they should have. But gosh, I learned about demolition of buildings, toxic mold, asbestos testing, removal and disposal, property management, moving buildings. I moved 3 times in my 6 years here. Zoning, storage pods. Jennifer, I can tell you I can give you some tips about special hearing examiner.
Please.
What was really an honor to be asked to be in that job was I really understood now that it gave the town authority and some input on how Main Street looked and how the industrial speed zone 2, how we handled signage and green space, and Tim's favorite thing, green space, and building setback. And then banners. How can I leave without talking about banners and parking lots? But seriously, and I'm closing now. I really appreciated being treated as a partner instead of just a recording secretary or a mail clerk, that type of thing. So and being involved with the town and having the chance to work with all of you. This is an entirely different group of people from when I started, but making your acquaintance and friendship in many cases has been just a wonderful way to spend 6.5 years. So I thank you again for that very much.
This is just for me, so.
Oh. Is that?
Are you done?
I am finished. I am done.
Playing you off the stage.
Oh, and so far, Eder Lopez has not run for the door yet over the last week. So this is encouraging.
It truly has been a partnership, and that's what's been important. Is Tim's kept me sane, and it's so nice to have somebody who just knows what you need and is able to react and take that burden off you, so we appreciate that. But the town has gotten you a couple things here.
Oh my gosh.
The Redevelopment Commission. We have you something here to keep you busy in your early days of retirement. Here's a card from the Redevelopment.
Should I show a picture of this on the camera? It says license to chill. That's very.
That's it, actually. It's just a
Box.
Can't wait.
And then on your behalf, we have bought you a tree that we planted at Winter Park, tribute tree.
Wow.
In honor of all your hard work and dedication to the town of Speedway.
Well, I'm speechless because that's my park, and I mean it's near to my house and near and dear to my heart. And I run into Jennifer there all the time, and I think I actually ordered that plaque. So, that plaque looks familiar. Not this, but thank you. Oh, that's.
You'll be able to pick out, Tammy, this will be in the fall, and you'll be able to pick out which kind of tree that you'd like to have, and something to be honored, and you can go visit and
Wow.
reach out and walk, and all those good things that retirement does.
Thank you very much. I thank you all very much. This is unbelievable. Yeah, this is really near. Actually, when Leanne Sewell was Parks Director and I was on the Parks Board, the tribute tree started at that time too, so this, talk about a full circle. I'm speechless. Thank you very much.
Thank you for everything, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
I need a card.
Well,
wanna say a
yeah,
few words?
I do, actually, if you don't, just if you, won't take long, and you don't have to stand for it, but I just wanted to thank you so much. All of my interactions with you have been pleasant, and that doesn't happen a lot these days, so I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. You've always been professional and prepared, and that makes our work easier, so we're really grateful for that. And I've appreciated sharing our interest in design and our discussions we've had around that, and I just wish you the best in the next chapter of your journey, so thank you so much.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to say?
I wish you the best of luck. I'll see you around. Tim and I are neighbors, and I'm pretty sure we met prior to my appointment with the SRC from the old Arts Council, old Arts Center on Main Street, and then many events with the Lions Club. So looking forward to wine on the deck.
I'd just like to say congratulations and good luck, and it's been great getting to know you over the last couple of years, and hope to see you around.
No, thank you, Tim. Congratulations.
Yeah, Tim, thank you very much. I'll echo Jennifer's appreciation for your preparedness and your professionalism. That's has made it much easier on our end, and you're a great neighbor and a great friend, and truly appreciate the work you've done, and hopefully you'll ride off into the sunset and enjoy that retirement. So
Try not to drive Bonnie.
He is incoming president or for Lions Club,
Lions.
so he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
I'll see you at a pancake breakfast in the future, I'm sure of it. Very good. Well, we appreciate your service, and thank you very much, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Does anyone have anything else they'd like to mention? Dr. Reed?
I got to know Tim from the editing of the minutes. I really have been great working with him, and I will correct him. I was on this redevelopment committee, even though I don't have a vote.
He's being true to form, correct.
That's great. Very good. Well, I appreciate it, and thanks everybody for their time this evening, and hearing no additional comments, we'll adjourn with consent.
Okay.